Stamp & Storage presents Crafted Spaces. In this exclusive video series, we will take you inside beautiful studios from across the United States. First, you'll get expert advice for improving your craft area and designing your own dream studio. Later in the series, we'll take you on guided tours of the rooms we visited that were definitely crafted spaces.
Ready to kick that craft room clutter to the curb? These ladies have some great advice. Maybe you aren't able to fully remodel your studio. There's a lot you can do in your current space to cultivate improvement. This episode is all about making the most use of the space you're already in by cleaning out your craft room clutter. Maybe you're like Keisha. Her craft area had gotten so bad it affected her creativity.
My previous space was getting out of control. I could no longer function in it. I actually stopped crafting with my hands and began doing all digital crafting and photo books and things of that nature.
So where do you start? That's the question that haunts us paper crafters who are trying to turn over a new leaf. Mackenzie Fuchs offers a great perspective.
A piece of advice I have if you're looking at creating a new space or to better your space you have now is sit down and just dream. What does your dream craft room look like? For me, it was having things organized by color. I really like that. I think it looks great. I wanted my stamps organized by theme, so I could easily say, oh, I need a birthday card and just go to the birthday stamps. Those are easy things to implement into a room, and you'll just feel better about your space already. And then you can look at that list and decide, okay, so storage options. These are things I can implement over the next 5 years. Just start incorporating some of those goals you have, and by in 5 years, you might have everything you thought would be in your dream craft room. I think that's a really cool way to look at it.
Taking time to dream and plan is great, but then you open your eyes and you're back in your cluttered space again. Clutter is a creativity killer. You become focused on the messes from past projects and you're not able to truly enjoy what you're working on now.
Clutter is really hard for me. I hate clutter. I think it makes you less productive. It gets overwhelming and people get frustrated and quit. So you have to keep it simple. Makes it a lot easier to function comfortably.
Any craft room requires forethought and planning, and one of the biggest things that you can do is to know your stash. Figure out what you have, catalog your stash, edit it if you need to, but absolutely understand what you have so that you can make appropriate decisions about the amount of storage that you need and how it should be housed and how you're going to utilize it in the space.
What I would do to make my space better is to take what I have, take everything out of the cabinets or the storage units that I have and just reorganize. Think about it a little bit more and reorganize it. Get new storage.
The best advice I think that we can offer someone who is trying to organize their space is really to do an annual, if not a twice a year review of what they have. Look at everything that they own. Purge what they're not using. I mean, in our industry, there's kind of a saying, if you haven't worn it in a year, get rid of it. The same can be said, as we move into spaces, craft spaces, and those kinds of things. There's no reason to have things that you're not using cluttering up your space.
That's a challenging piece of advice for those of us who are crafters and hoarders. We feel a sense of security in holding on to the spool of twine from 13 years ago, just in case. But if it's adding to clutter, take a hard look at it and let it go.
So once you've figured out what you have in your stash, don't hesitate to cut. Sometimes you have to edit your stash. Sometimes you do have to admit that you cannot possibly use all the things that you've acquired. If you're not using something, if you have duplicates of the thing or things that are very similar, you should strongly consider letting some of that go. Sell it, donate it, find ways to share it with other crafters. In order to stay focused as a crafter and to truly enjoy your crafting, you've got to be able to access your product. So think very carefully about what you like to do and the things that you like to use. Focus on those things and let other things go.
Yeah, you should always love everything that's in the space. If you're always wanting to grab one tool and you're like, no, I really like this one better, then there's some reason you're not touching that one. That one needs to go away because now it's just making clutter.
As crafters, we see so many things that we think are awesome and we would love to have them in our own studios. But we should ensure that there are tools and systems that we are going to use that make sense for us. And that was kind of what underscored my approach, a very personal approach to organizing my space.
And if you have a small craft space, don't overdo it in that limited area.
The advice that I can give for somebody that has a small space is keep it simple. Don't keep around the products that you don't use. Store them someplace else. Don't have it so overwhelmingly packed with items that you can't even think about how to start. It's best to keep your work surface and the surrounding areas as uncluttered as possible so that you can design and function and create in a non-cluttered, overwhelming space.
The next thing to do would be to really organize what you are using. I have a little craft space downstairs in my basement, and I have everything is in a little plastic bin. So that way it's really easy to find what I need. And then when I'm done with it, I do my best effort to put it back.
You can make the most use of your space by using organizational tools, like what Mary has behind me. There's different shelves that show ribbons. You can have your stamps, your stamp pads, and your pens right at hand. Everything is really important to have at arm's reach, making it easy for you to produce your projects. It's like working in a kitchen when you're baking a cake. If you have all your baking items right there with you, it's so much easier and a lot more fun. Labeling is really important. I label everything so I don't have to look inside of everything to see what's there. If you label it as easy reach, you put it in a cupboard or a cabinet and you reach for it, you know what's in there.
And this really is a basic organizing tip for almost any area of your home, is to know where things are, put them back when you're done with them.
Put them back.
Put them back when you're done with them. And that way you stay organized.
Put them back. This is good advice, but it's easier said than done. If that's hard for you, plan your storage and organization to help you out. Make sure you can quickly put things away after you use them. Mary Fish of Stampin' Pretty blog puts it very well. Stamp like a firefighter.
I like to say that I stamp like a firefighter. I want it ready to go, and so that I can find things easily. I like things within my line of vision and easy to put away so that there isn't chaos. I don't create well when there's a lot of chaos. So my OCD kicks in alive and well.
Clutter is our enemy, and this has been some great advice in learning how to defeat it, even in the space you're using today. Dream a little, make a plan, make that plan a priority.
Whenever I would look at ladies' craft rooms and I would say, wow, that is craft heaven. There were things in that craft space that I could have done upstairs in the studio I had to make it more functional. And I think that's important to recognize.
So what did you think? Join in on the conversation on our social media channels, which are linked here on the screen. Check out the next episode to find out how to successfully plan your studio on a budget. If you're new to the series, be sure to watch the previous episodes. Don't forget to subscribe to our blog so you can hear about new episodes to come. Thank you for watching Crafted Spaces, presented by Stampin' Storage. Stampin' Storage. Organize your craft, unleash your creativity.